no one wants to hear your story. I'm going to tell you the truth. I was a little shocked when I heard it because I realized that our stories are valuable. And there's no way that we can look at an individual in this life and see where they are at that current moment and think that their stories don't matter. This is actually a problem. I see this a lot on social media, and not just there, I see it in real life. People who we see in a snapshot of their life and sometimes struggling, but not where they came from. That's just a space and moment in time that they are getting through. And I want to say, with the help and grace of God. And so it's Faith Yadida Span. And maybe it's the first time that you are listening to the sound of my voice, and I want to share a story with you. So years ago, I went through an experience of being conned, and I look up because I never thought anything like that was going to happen to me. I was duped. I also experienced financial fraud, identity theft at the same time. That wasn't easy. And it wasn't even easy even then. And I have to say this, I'm stuttering a little bit because you never think that someone is going to lie to you. You never think that someone can look you straight in the face and not tell you the truth, especially when it comes to something called marriage fraud. And so, yes, I experienced that. I was, some people say, scammed, conned, whatever it was. The terminology doesn't matter to me. The fact is that it happened, it hurt, and I was more than shocked when it did. It actually changed my life. The thing I thought about was, here's a professional woman. You think you should know better. You think you'd be smarter. But when it comes to street smart sometimes, that's an area where some of us need to kind of rise up. And that was me back then. That was only part of the story. After that, things changed. I started to see myself losing things because I was sending funds to something that was never going to be. A home, a wonderful marriage, a marriage ministry, all of these great things. It was all a lie. So many of you watch things like Lifetime and, maybe Hallmark can be, but these are people's stories. And when people say that the story doesn't matter, when that woman you meet or that man ends up losing their home, being evicted, going through a decrease in their finances because of something that happened, that story does matter. When they stand before the judge and that judge looks at them as if to say, all we know is that you haven't paid. But how did they get there? When we walk the street and we see people sometimes who are sitting out on the curb, or people are women with children who are raising them not, and I don't like to say by themselves, but without the support of the other parent. How can we possibly turn the other way and act like that woman doesn't need a level of support and maybe even some comfort and some encouragement at the same time? How did we get here? And the reason why I speak about this is because when that happened to me, my life changed. Now, here I was a woman. If you look, if this is on LinkedIn, you can see what some people call, you have an extensive background. Yeah, but none of that mattered. None of the certificates, not the school I went to, not being on the president's list, not a 4.2 GPA, none of that mattered. And my life definitely took a spiral in a direction that I never thought it was going to go. And then on top of that, I also said, how did I become a mom raising a daughter without the support of a husband? What in the world? Nobody wants to go through that. But when they do, they need grace. They need people to be kind to them. And what I realized was that just like other people, that there are people who, when they see you down, they are going to want to actually come and put their foot on your back. Why? It makes them feel like they are in a better position and that they deserve to do it. And it happens so much. And it happens until people get to the point where they don't even want to speak up anymore. They become the silent sufferers. They become the people who knew that they were in a place professionals, maybe CEOs, leaders, or people, human beings who deserve to be treated with respect, find themselves at a point and place in their lives where sometimes they don't even want to be seen. And not just that, sometimes they're not seen because people see them as vagabonds, as homeless, as what's the other words? You know what they are. What did somebody say one day? Hobos and all of these mean things they say. But sometimes it took one thing, one breakup, one divorce, one experience with domestic violence. It took one thing, one pink slip, one we're deciding to go in a different direction that actually caused that person's life to once again spiral downward. And believe this, they never knew that they were going to go through anything like that. The embarrassment, the humiliation, and even the shame, and them being treated as if they are less than by people who breathe the same air, who sometimes sit in the same spaces, who eat just like them, who will come outside of a restaurant and know that they have extra, but will not that person because of what we think. The stigmatization that happens, the prejudgment that happens, because all most people will say is that that person is lazy, not knowing that they have been fighting through cold nights outside and all kinds of other things. And so I started to think about it. I started to think about my own story and how that did so many things. And then from there, you try to recover, you try to get on the rebound from those things. And sometimes you find yourself fighting alone, not without God, because I've got him, but sometimes going through things because people see you, even some people that you know, they are happy. I hate to say that it's you, because they got upset maybe when you took the leap to start your own business or to write your book, or you were elevated in a position that maybe you do not deserve. And so the moment that some people hear that you went through a situation where it was almost as if the rock was pulled from underneath you, there are some people who, oh, thank goodness, did you hear what happened to her? Did you hear what happened to him? It's very ugly sometimes out there. But despite that, I remember writing this book, Don't Give Up, that I wrote. And all I kept hearing sometimes through the midst of the things I was facing, loss of things that I lost, just, you don't lose your dignity. But something happens inside that tries to crush and break you. Along with that, I realized that I became a caregiver when I was working, even to my daughter. So there was these two, my strong, brave warrior daughter. And so I had to pivot in certain moments. When you also are a caregiver, as if you are, you have to change. You can't do things the way that you used to do it. You may find yourself running to the ICU, to the ER, or whatever else it is. There are doctor's appointments, there are calls that are coming in, appointments that need to be made, and you're on hold a long time when you're just saying, oh gosh, I need to be working, I need to be doing something else. But yet, your life has changed. And the shift has happened. And sometimes you have to pivot with the shift. I love being a visionary and strategist. I love sitting with people. I have who call me, even in the midst of all the things that I was going through, and we're still like, Adita, I know you're going through that, but I need to talk to you because of the listening ear. Not just because I was trained in critical incident stress management, not just because I took my clinicals as a chaplain and pastoral care, not just because of that, but my heart is to be kind, and not just to be kind, but also to care about people, and not just the people who are doing well, but the people who are going through a valley experience. And so I went through all of that, and then I found out that there were things that were happening, smear campaigns, all of these things. And then in December, when I was in the hospital with my daughter, we were staying with someone who I will still call friend. I will still say that, despite everything. And did not tell them about it. And all I knew was there they were, right? In the hospital, but uninvited. And I thought this was private, so it should be private. It's only supposed to be unlisted for certain people to see, but something popped up. So I was angry. I'm going to be honest with you because I needed a break. I wanted a break from the warfare. I wanted a break from what didn't make sense to me. But what I have discovered in my life is that God can use the moments in your life, the moments that you don't even want to happen, the moments that bring you a lot of shame and humiliation and sometimes even embarrassment. He can walk you through those moments, through that valley. He can give you a level of faith to hold on to the promises that he gave, even if you don't see it. And so for me, having worked in the hospital since I was about 18 years of age, different hospitals, different positions, I knew that her being there was wrong, but I don't think she knew, not at the time. So it was a big thing. And if you know me, I don't like all of that, right? I really don't. I don't like a whole lot of confusion and mean-spirited people and things like that. I don't like it because God doesn't like it. And so for me, I wanted to focus on my daughter. I wanted to focus on her getting better and not have to focus on what happened. And the hospital was not pleased with that situation. And so even though I was kind and forgiving, the hospital knew, and I know about HIPAA regulation. I kept saying that, like, leave, because I did not want her to deal with what was going to happen, and she would not, and it happened anyway. Why? Why? So I had to make a choice. In December, it was time to leave where we were because of that and all the other things that came with it, smear campaigns and all kind of stuff, and being told you tried to get me fired, although I did not. I was actually super kind. So yeah, we left. And we actually came to this hotel temporarily. So if you've ever stayed in a hotel, and I know some of you have, and some of you might be in a hotel right now, and there are also professionals who are sleeping in their car. And there is a level of shame that you may have, but I want you to know that your story matters. It matters because there are so many people who I even met along the way, organizations, and all of these things, even prior to, where I found out people were being treated wrongfully because of their temporary circumstance. And that's wrong. We don't treat people according to the suffering that go through. As a matter of fact, I love to say that that person is resilient and they need to be celebrated instead of treated poorly. I just don't like it. So as an advocate and as a person who knows that platforms that we have, it's not just about me, it's not just for me, it's not entertainment, but it is an opportunity to share, to motivate, to encourage, but also to be a voice for the voiceless. And if you've gotten this far, I know I stumbled a little bit on some of these words, but I'm not going to re-record this because I believe that there are imperfect moments that if we keep waiting for perfect and I record this over and all of this stuff, you will not see me. You will see someone who you believe is perfect or who has a perfect story, or a person you'll look in the background and say, wow, that house is beautiful. Well, no, this is actually the conference room in the hotel. So I'm sharing this for various reasons. Number one, to advocate. Number two, to help us to be more mindful of the people that we meet in the grocery store, walking down the street. I have seen people crying sometimes on the train, and I stop to make sure to talk to them at least. I know you can't do it with everyone, but we don't need to live in a world where we are so afraid of people, scam artists, and all this stuff that we don't see the people who are truly hurting and who are in need. That is what this video is about. Take a moment, sometimes even a job, to realize that there are people who are suffering who are a paycheck away from being unhoused. I was. And I know what this feels like. And it does not feel great. But one thing that I can say is that God's grace sustains me. And I met people, just like some of you, who probably looked at you, and instead of helping, they looked at you and did not believe your story. And that's wrong. I think we have to have a level of discernment and a level of compassion. We have to look and not even get upset, because there's some people who got upset who were like, oh, she needs help, but listen to how she talks. Isn't that really silly to you? How could she really need it? Not realizing when we sing that song, Amazing Grace, it's not just a song that I sing. It is my life. That I have experienced amazing grace. I have experienced the goodness of God. I have experienced the power of God and the strength of God. My weakness. I have experienced the blessings of God. And I don't know why I had to walk through this route with my daughter, but all I kept hearing was, this is bigger than you. It's bigger than you. And so when you hear that, knowing that your life is not your own, knowing that God has a purpose for your life and it may not go the way that you think it's going to, you just continue to walk and you humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. And I know some people are like, oh, why is she talking about God? Because I know that if it was not for God, I would not be here right now. I would not be able to smile. I wouldn't be able to share my story, and I wouldn't be able to be doing a whole lot of other things. I wouldn't be able to, and neither would I have a heart of empathy or compassion for the hurting. And that is important, because one thing I know, and this is for the people who are in church, that when I look at the Lord, is it usually with the people who, the scribes and the Pharisees, oh, I have it all together. Oh, I'm so, look at me, and I have everything right. No, he was actually with who some would refer to as the underdog or the outcast of society. He was actually making trips and going out of his way, even to meet with a woman at the well who was laden with sin, because he knew he could change her life. And how many times do we pass people by knowing that sometimes we can change their life? Even if it's a smile, even if it's a resource, even if it's letting them know you are not invisible, you still matter, and that you're going to get through this, even though it seems difficult right now. Doesn't that matter anymore? Well, it matters to me. So I wanted to stop to share this story. I wanted to stop to help us, just keep the scripture, Matthew 25:35. And I'm going to read some of it to you before I close, because what I kept hearing was, this is bigger than you. And as I was hearing it, and then the Lord was also encouraging me through this, because I was meeting people along the way, just like in my Don't Give Up. There's a chapter 4, it's called Butterfly Wings. And it talks about people who called that caterpillar out of its name, said it was yucky and ugly. And the caterpillar says, I am not yucky. I am not ugly. I was created this way by my maker. And it talked about how the people didn't matter. They didn't care to actually realize that that caterpillar was made by God. And even in the state where it seemed like it was not important or beautiful or all of these things, it still had a purpose. And so sometimes we go through those moments in life where it ain't beautiful. I'm going to put it there. It ain't lovely. But there's also a purpose for it. And wouldn't it be like God, that he did not call a caterpillar, it would stay a caterpillar for the duration of its life, and a butterfly, and it would stay a butterfly during the duration of its life, that he takes a caterpillar and turns it into a butterfly after it goes through a transformation. So be encouraged with that. This part I want to share with you, and I'm going to grab my other glasses because it's important. And I have to keep saying this scripture. Let me share it with you. And it says this. I love these. Let me share this. It says, Matthew 25, and I'm going to start here. This is why it's important not to ignore the vulnerable. There's going to be justice for the vulnerable, for the broken, for the people who have experienced shame, for the people who seem like they're not important. God cares about those people. He cares about me. He cares about you. And he cares about the people who are not up here right now. Look at Joseph in the Bible, thrown into a pit, a God dream, thrown into the pit, and all of these things. But there was a purpose even for that. So it says this, Matthew 25, with me a moment, and 35. Let me get that straight. It says, 34. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you. Okay? The kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he also say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and angels. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in. Naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer unto them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not unto one of the least of these, ye did it not unto me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous life eternal. And I read that because this is the verse that the Lord, and this passage that he kept bringing up to me over and over and over again. And I used to go and sing in the prisons, in the nursing home, and different things, in the hospitals. Go and pray for people and all of that. But when I went through this situation, it humbled me for sure. But it didn't stop me from speaking to those who were hurting and who were considered less than. And this passage is important because there are people I met along the way who were mean. People who I met along the way who didn't believe my very, very real story. They just looked at it. And some people laughed, and some people didn't. And some people helped. But there was almost this price, like, I'm going to help you, but you're less than, which I am not. And that's wrong. Even if you allow someone to stay in your home, and I know that's not easy sometimes. I know. I get it, because that's home. But we still don't have a right to treat people poorly and to treat them poorly and make them feel like they're less than, or that the person who is helping them, like they have to kiss someone's feet. It's not right. It's not right. And so please read that passage, Matthew 25. I read 34 through 46. It's important. And maybe you are the person and you're seeing this video and you're saying, wow, I remembered. Maybe you're that pastor who was like, hey, where are you? What hotel is it? And you called your assistant and just said, investigate her. Who is she? This, that, and the other. And acted like you were going to help and were concerned, and you didn't. Or maybe you're that person who invited that person into your home once again and treated them so bad, them and their children. This is a call. This is actually It's a warning. Just just repent for hurting God's. Well, the least of these is what he says. He says, when you did it to the least of these, you did it unto me. When you disrespected them, you did it to the Lord. When you disrespect me and my child, you did it unto us. And the Lord was watching. It doesn't like that. I'm forgiving, but God doesn't like that. So we have to do better. Maybe this is part of it. Maybe it's so that I could share this, because we have to get this right. This is an area where many are lacking in compassion and empathy. So think about the people that you have met along the way. Once again, no one owes me an apology. I forgive people quickly. I give it over to the Lord. But apologize to Him. This is serious. That passage, it's nothing to play with. All right? Thank you.